I need to have you like put on headphones and listen to my stream and tell me if you're listening, if you can hear the fan, because otherwise I'll just shut it off.
Okay.
If you hear, ooh, excuse me, if you hear like the fan really loud or some kind of white sound, white noise,
White sounds.
white noises, let me know and we can turn that off to improve the audio quality. Okay, we are live, by the way. Let me give a link in the Discord. And it's pretty simple. It's the same link. I can just copy the link, post a timestamp. We're live. Come hang out. Or just stop by and say hi. Cool. People see that we're doing a thing.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
I can turn that too if needed. So, because there was somebody saying that you were very quiet yesterday, so we can turn this mic that way.
It's fine.
You can hear yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just leave it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Keep this out of the way. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go fix that right now.
It's hard for me to judge with the fan because I can hear it in real life.
Yeah, okay. Well, now it'll be shut off.
Okay.
Alright, we're gonna get started. How's it going, everybody? I'm Drifty from Driftwood Gaming. I'm joined with T. She'll be popping in and out.
Hello.
Taking care of baby every now and then. And, yeah, we're going to be working on Legend of Driftwood again. Keeping the momentum going. We're almost to the point where I can push an update and re-send out links and get all the sites updated and take the older version off the website and put the newer version on the website. We got the arena basic setup yesterday and the capture system is working. We reduced the prices to make it more accessible. One thing I keep failing to do is update the changelog. So I'm going to do that real quick with a little bit of what we did yesterday. The changelog, let's go to the bottom here. And we added a new arena map, linked it to the world map, and transferred over the events, the related events. We adjusted the cost of capture weapons to make them more accessible. I'm probably not spelling things right, it's fine. Accessible, is that an I or an A? Doesn't really matter. What else did we do? Oh yeah, we removed the removed several HimeWorks plugins that were referenced in common events because they're not compatible with my plugin setup and or version 1.62 of MV. Replaced some script calls referencing those plugins with plugin commands for Yanfly's extended message pack commands. This was to hide and show options that should only be available when you've captured the correct, you've captured creatures. I'll go back and grammar this as needed. I know it's a riveting start to today's episode, but I need to remember what I was doing. That way I can stay organized a little bit better. How are you guys doing? Let me pop out the chat and see what's up. Is anybody here? Who's here? Oh, there's people here. Hey, Mega Monster 2, hi, how you doing? Eblisser, hello. Rodrigo's DS, you here? Hey, Drifty's lesson stream begins. What's up, Epic Mighty? Ina Cloud and T's Jams. She went to go take care of the babby. All right. What else did we do? We created new animations for the basic heart attack. Hey, Anthony Browning, how are you doing? Rodrigo, doing great, I guess. Cool, cool. We transferred over several animations that I created, that were created in the Dungeons of Driftwood project. Replaying your game at the moment, adding some demo LPs, exclusive rewards. Cool. Yeah, replay through your game a lot. It's very important to put your shoes in, or put yourself in the shoes of your players to see what they go through and what feels smooth, what feels rough, what's too hard, what's too easy, and be your own beta tester. Great piece of advice. You gotta beta test yourself. Okay. I think we did some other stuff. I can't remember. We transferred over animations. We fixed several skill note box code issues. We found the elusive closing brace. Some other typos and description, I guess we can say that. Fixed a few typos in the description boxes. Oh, we changed the capture skills function to operate as an attack replacement command instead of a weapon unleash 100% command. But it's still a basic attack, just has a different animation, which we updated and changed. Well, I guess updated or changed. Updated the animation on the capture skill itself. Okay, we did some other things, but that's a lot of... I think that'll do. That'll do, Pig. And we have gone through as a speedrunner to see how the game feels as a speedrunner, and it definitely challenges you at certain points, which is good, because it shouldn't be super easy when you're skipping fights and you're skipping treasure chest and you're skipping all the content. But I do need to do the opposite end of the spectrum and beta test my game from the start as if I was your power leveler or grinder, and yeah, I want to like get max level and get all the treasure chests and like smash on the boss, where make the boss fights look super easy because I'm so leveled up. And I want to see how the game feels if you're trying to do that. So I have to go on both sides of the spectrum, and we've done the speedrun thing, but also I want to take a look at, hopefully, maybe I should do this first before I start the playthrough, take a look at the hireable mercenary system, which I had going on here. But let me just see if the related plugin that I'm using for it is on. See, it's already turned off, so I think I have to ditch this idea or create it from scratch again. So what I'm going to do is think about how I could remake this from scratch, your instance actors, or maybe ditch it because it is not necessary. This is a plugin from HemiWorks, another one. I may have to just drop the whole system because it's so out of date now. And it had some bugs from the get-go, and I don't think they got patched out. So I've got these HemiWorks plugins turned off. I think I still have some of them on. Do I have any HemiWorks plugins still working? I used to back HemiWorks on Patreon. I still back several people, but Heme kind of disappeared. Yeah, so those plugins are turned off now, unfortunately. At some point, I want to take Mog's Element Booster out and put in, or not Mog Hunter, Moogle X's Element Booster out and put in Yanfly's Element Core. I kind of maybe think I should do that first and then play through the game. I will have to change some stuff, but it's like a lot of states note tag box editing, but it's not really a lot of code. It's just one thing in a lot of states. So let's look at this plugin. Combine multiple elements. 1 is yes, 0 is no. And then we have combined multiple element rates. So we're saying no. But, I mean, Yanfly's Elemental Core does this, but so much more than just this. And it's one of my favorite plugins, so I think I'll probably try that out right now. Let's do that. I'm pretty sure I have the most recent up-to-date version of the plugin, but to be sure, I'm going to go ahead and download it from the website. So we'll go to yanfly.mo. You guys listening to anything interesting today? What kind of music are you guys listening to? I'm keeping the music out of the stream so you can put on whatever you want on another tab or something. So we'll go ahead and keep this over here. And let's type in the search. We're going to go Element Core would work. But to save me time, okay, let's get the most recent version. Take me to the downloads. There we go. I'll show this in a folder, and then we will escape. I want to cut this entire file, close this, and then paste it into Legend of Driftwood, JS plugins, and paste it here. I'm going to overwrite, yep. Now I know I have the most recent version, and we'll close this one as well. I'll go down here and search for Yanfly's Element Core. As always, if you have any specific questions about the engine or game design in general, feel free to put it in the live stream, and I'll do my best to answer any questions you might have. It's not an extension, it's a core plugin, so let's go to, Element Core, there we go. Multi-element ruling. If a skill or item has multiple elements, then use these rules. Take the lowest, or add them together, multiply them together, take the highest, or average them. It's set to multiply by default. So it's got to be underneath the battle engine core and the damage core, which is fine. We'll do that. This lets us give our skills multiple elements. We won't really be doing that, but we're going to use the element magnify or amplify. If the user performs a skill or item that utilizes an element, increase or decrease its damage by this %. If a skill or item has multiple elements, the rate is increased additively for each element and adjusted multiplicatively with base rate. This bottoms out at 0%, so you don't start healing with it when you return a negative, as well as it lets you do element absorb specifically if you want it to be able to heal. So, and amplify, what's the difference here? I think I used amplify. If the user performs a skill or item that utilizes element of whatever, increase or decrease its damage by X%. If a skill or item has multiple elements, the rate is increased additively for each element and adjusted additively for base rate. Alright, so the difference between magnify and amplify is magnify will return a higher number generally when you have multiple element rates going into play. So I'm going to do amplify so that they kind of stack, but they don't multiply. So I'll be using element amplify in replace of the buff that I currently do. So let's go ahead and take this line here, copy that. Element amplify the number of the element by the percentage we want to change. Okay. And we'll say okay. We'll save that. I'm going to go into our states where I suppose I should have done this before I adjusted all the Thrinities, because man, that's gonna be a lot. So what I do here is say element amplify 2 by plus 25%. And I sort of do that for all of them. Great. Wonderful. This will be 3. This one's 4. This one is 5. This one is 6. This one is 7. Oh, wait, yeah, 7, right? Hold on. Can I undo? It doesn't have an undo option, but I can check what element light is supposed to be, or wind is supposed to be. Go to types. Wind is 7, light is 8, dark is 9. And then fusion would be 10. But astral is 16. Okay. And I kind of take this same thing for fire, and then I go down to where I have the second tier, third tier, and fourth tier. I do the same thing, boom, but this time it's 50%. Copy this. This is 3 at 50%. 4 at 50%. 5 at 50%. 6 at 50%. 7. 8. 9. And 10. And then finally this one is the 16. And then we just do that again, except now we're going to take this and set it to 75%. Amplify 2 to 75%. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Okay, and finally 16. One more to go. One more to go. Copy the 2. this one will be 100 plus 100%. So double the damage of the element when you're under the effects of this state. That's 4. Here is 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. And 16. Okay, cool. There we go. That's up to date. Alright, so we do the long test. We do play the game from the beginning, doing the optional fights, getting most of, if not all of the treasure chests, and think about this whole time, does it feel too easy, does it feel too hard, and then by the end of the game, by the end of the playthrough, decide if we want to create a new instance actors kind of thing that lets us select like characters, because I'd have to stretch all these characters out. I may have already done that. I already did that actually. So the general idea behind this is you get tokens from at the arena, and then with those tokens you can pay and create a new character, and the character will have whatever name you decide. It will have whatever artwork. Like, you can't specifically design all of the characters. You have to pick from characters. You got to come here and say, I want it to look like one of these. How many do I have? 18. One of these 18, or I could add more, right? One of these 20 characters, or one of these 21 or 30 or 50 characters, and you get to pick what it looks like. You give it its name, and you select its class. And then you can build your party around that, so you can have multiple characters of the same type. It seemed like an arbitrary tack-on thing for end-game content, so I don't know if I need to redesign a system around it. I was using HumanWorks' instance actors, which no longer works, so maybe I don't need this, and I just leave this inaccessible and inoperable and go on without it. You don't need it in the game. It was just another idea I had. Also, I need to check to see how, if anything has changed with the farming system that I created. It's an older type of farming system that works okay. It works well. It's not super flashy or amazing. I think it's like a 30-minute tutorial I put out a couple years ago. But I put out a newer one a few months ago that the farming system I'm using for Natural Explorers, which is much more interesting and is slightly better, which I'm not going to put that in this game because that would detract from the project I'm working on for like a commercial project. So anyway, I just need to see if it still works, and if not, fix it, and if it's not fixable, scrap it, basically, or rebuild it. And right now, I think most of the game is put together. I need to put the next dungeon up, so I'll need to design a few more creatures and a few more boss fights, and basically the storyline cutscenes for going into this area. So this will be the next area that the party goes into from here. Let me make sure that this doesn't start a fight. It does. Okay, we don't want that. There's some force preventing us from entering this temple, and it pushes the player back. If the entry to the ice temple switch is on, then we can go in here. And I think what I need to do now is let the player enter here, and from the old watchtower map, after we've unlocked the bard, and the party is told to go there, we can just turn that switch on and let the party in at that point. So we're going to, before we transfer the player, we turn the transparency. Actually, we can do this. Then it's settled. Let's head to the temple and the forest. At this point, we can control a switch. And the switch that lets the party entry to Ice Temple, we can turn that on. So now the party is told to go here. The party will be able to go there. So the idea was to make sure the party gets a healer before they try to proceed. Otherwise, the game will feel imbalanced because you don't have a healer. And he's a very strong healer eventually. He starts off as a good boost to the party and becomes very, very overpowered later on, which I won't know how overpowered until I actually build the next part and give the player a reason to continue. So now the player will be able to enter this temple from here if they've met the switch conditions, and it will just teleport to here. So let's make sure that it teleports. It works, okay. And so the players will be able to enter the temple. And what I could do later on is add a cutscene where the party's like enters here and says something about it, but we've already been given the directive to go here. So it's pretty evident when you see it, you go here. I do want to check the encounters. There's encounters on this, so we'll make it slightly more grindy, I suppose. I mean, it's not supposed to be that hard, but it's supposed to be like you're going to encounter more enemies the deeper you go into the cave. We'll say 45 steps here. That's pretty grindy, 45. But it's not a big cave, right? Let's test these transfers. I think we'll definitely test these transfers out. I don't have the storyline for what happens when you get to here yet. It's blank. So this is like where you would fight the Ice Primal. And this would activate this circle. And maybe let the player come back here later. I'll have to test for collisions. I actually haven't had the player had to walk through here yet, so we'll see. Alright, let's just give it a shot. I think I need to put the fight here at least. When you get here, what if I go like this? And put this right here. Get rid of this. Go like this. Go like this. And just kind of erase this stuff. I don't know. Let me undo all that change. It made sense where it was at, actually. And I'll just make both of these events, like, mimic each other. You dare disturb my realm? You must have a death wish. Ominous text coming from seemingly nowhere. Maybe it'd be a good idea to make just a mist or darkness circle face graphic. And I guess we could use a name as well. /n. The name of it will be the Ice Primal. Okay. Good enough. What this will do is do battle processing. with the Primal of Ice. You can't escape, you can't lose, it'll be game over if you die. Of course, I have to work on what's the reasoning. Hold on, let me undo that. What's this say? There's a light coming from this, okay. What's the reasoning behind going here? Actually, and I mean, I want to give the player the ship. So before I give the player the ship, like, there has to be some quest they have to do, but, like, maybe in town, in town there'll be somebody who's saying, I don't know, the water's too cold to be traveling, something, we have to maybe bring an item back, I'm still spitballing it, like there's some sort of evil enchantment over the land that's causing glaciers to form so it's too dangerous to sail, and the captain of this ship won't sail until the weather changes, and so this thing is keeping, once you kill this creature, it releases the enchantment and the glaciers disappear, and that lets you sail around now, and then the ship can, then the player can have the ship. That's the general idea. Once the player has the ship, they've gone from having the boat in the first part, and then they've been teleported here. Then they can get the ship and sail around, and then I need to make some places that the player can go to that they can't get to with just the ship. They would need the airship to get there, and then after that point, do another quest line to give the player the airship, and then you would need the airship to beat the last boss in the story, yada yada yada. So we're at this point. I need to design the storyline, but I also have a balancing run to go through and do. I kind of want to do that. I'm assuming I'll need to change some numbers around, but I also need to create more monsters. And then when I create more monsters, add them to the monster arena. And then I need to create more boss creatures so that when you capture 10 of a certain creature, there's a reward for that. So let's do another playthrough. Quite a bit has changed, and we have the option to get to, before, I need to check one thing. This needs to be action button, same as characters. Also, let me put something on here. So if you win, if you die, you'll game over, and you can't escape. So if you win, this next part of the contents will run. We'll turn on a switch, and that control switches will be frozen, ocean, ocean, unfrozen. Or I can say ship unlocked, but I'll probably use that later. I just need something cohesive that I'll remember. Ice Primal defeated. There we go. So we're using a switch called Ice Primal defeated, and we'll turn that on afterwards, make a new event page that has the switch conditions, Ice Primal defeated. So after we defeat the Ice Primal, we can't fight them here again. I can just delete this, copy this, paste this. That way if the player talks from the top, it'll do this, and if they talk from the bottom, it'll still do the same thing. So I can reference the Ice Primal defeated switch in town. Let's kind of build the next part of the story before I go through it, I suppose. So, I need to have, like, the players realize their situation, so I need to add some cutscenes. When they get to town for the first time, we need to, like, hit the players with some motivational, like, give the players their motive. So how would we do that? Let's try this. The first time that the players enter the town, we're going to start an auto run, and we'll call this CS motives. and this will be above the character's auto-run event that just happens as soon as the players enter the first time. After they do, it will control a self switch, and yeah, because I guess it doesn't need to change any of that. So new page will be if self switch A is on, it's an action button, nothing happens, it takes care of itself. So that will close and not lock up the game. Now we add the actual event that happens. So let's just make it happen the way that I would see it happening in my head. We fade out the screen. We do a wait for 30 frames. We make the players transparent. So we'll turn on transparency. And then we will turn on a switch. So we'll control a switch. And we'll call this switch, what is the name of this town? Winter Hall CS on. Winter Hall CS. That's true or false. We can do that. So this will be the Winter Hall cutscene. And we'll turn that switch on. So what this switch is going to do is let us have other events that work as a parallel. So what we'll do is have here, we know who's going to be in the party. We know that Driftwood's going to be in the party, but he will only show up here if we have the Winter Hall switch on. I'm going to set it to be through so that we don't have to worry about where the player is going to be at. And the new event page with the switch. Actually, we don't need a new page because once we turn off that switch, this will disappear. Easy, okay. And we will copy this, paste this here, and we'll have this one represent Arturus. And we'll do it again. This one will represent Olgun. So we know these three people will be here in the party. And what we can do is before we fade in the screen, we make the player invisible, and we have these representations of the player's party become visible. And that will work. So we turn on that switch, we fade out the screen, we wait 30 frames, turn on the transparency, and then turn on a switch that brings up a representation of the players, of the characters in the story. And then what we'll do is we'll fade in the screen. Fade in the screen. And we'll have a move event of all three of them walking. So we'll do that next. Movement route. This will be simple, so we're just going to have them move right, move right. So Drifty. Skip if cannot move, because I don't want it to crash over this little cutscene. Plus they have through on, so it's fine. Move right, move right, move right, turn down, wait 10 frames, turn left, but we're not going to have a wait for completion on this one. We're going to copy this, paste this, and for Olguin, or we'll just do Arturus, it'll be the same thing except he will turn up instead of turn down. And he won't do the other thing. He'll go right, right, right and turn up. And then we'll have another movement event, which we will wait for. This will be Olguin. He is going to move right, move right, move right, and then that's it. Just stand there. But we're gonna actually have this one wait for completion. So they're gonna appear to be walking in the town at the same time. And then we'll have some text where I guess Arcturus would be the more kind of more have more strategy involved. Let me catch up on the chat. How are you guys feeling today? Listening to David Bowie, says Rodrigo. Talking Heads and some game soundtracks. Cool. Listening to a band called If These Trees Could Talk. Sounds very metal. Anthony Browning. How about adding two new elemental affinities, Psychic and Force? Both are opposing to each other. Ahmed Falahi, that sounds great. I have enough. I have plenty of elements already that could use more usage. So I don't need to add more, just for arbitrary adding. But that sounds great. Psychic and Force opposing. It's like light and dark type of thing. Could definitely work. Cheesy Prime, I was told this would be a good question to ask on stream by T. Do you consider using paid assets to be a bad thing? I'm just trying to see what people think about it and stuff. No, Cheesy Prime, using paid assets is not a bad thing. When you contract somebody to make art for your game, that's using paid assets. Like you've made, like some 1099. You've made a contract with somebody to make some assets for you, and you've probably paid them. So if you're talking about like DLC, it's different than it becomes like, well, there's a lot of people who could be using them, but it's still better than using the default ones, because that means there'll be even more people who are using the default ones, and so the more niche you go into it, the less likely that someone is going to be like, oh, I've seen that sprite before, or I've seen that, I've heard this sound effect before, or I've seen that tile set used before, or this art style I've seen it before. So if you have it custom designed for your game, then it's going to be unique in that way. If you have it, you're buying DLC, then there'll be less people than having default, at least. So I don't think it's a bad thing, actually. Hey Drifty, animation size are all 192 by 192 pixels. If I make 300 by 300 per frame, will the RPG Maker read it? No, I don't think so.
No, I answered him.
Oh, okay.
It has to be 192 by 192.
Yeah. More assets increases the available tools, yeah? More assets is what I think you mean. Increases the available tools. Sure, the more things you have, the more you can look at your assets as tools. Your sprite is a tool to represent a character. Sure. Game soundtracks. Okay. I don't like RPGs where you have character creation. Protag is most likely a silent blank slate. That's true. You have that in Final Fantasy 1, where it's a true role-playing game. You create your party, you select their names, you select their class, and they don't say anything. So, I mean, there's something about that I like, but at the same time, that doesn't help you as a story writer, because then the story happens around the characters, not including the characters, and you can't do a character-driven storyline when you give the player like the ability to create every aspect of that character. The upside and downsides to that are, like, if you do create, like, give the player to create their own character, you also have to give the player the option to say or do what they want. You can't put words in the character's mouth, like when you're saying you get to create your character, because what if their character wouldn't say that option? As for when the characters in the storylines, you can have them say this thing because that's what that character would have done. But you don't want to go too far with that, because once again, is the player reading a book, or are they playing an interactive game? And is it a role-playing game? Does the player actually get to take the role of a character and decide what happens, or are they just along for the ride? You kind of have to pick which way you're going, and it's much better to give the player the option to say multiple things, and because I don't know, like when you put too many words in the player's mouth, it can seem like, well, I don't have any options. I wouldn't say this thing. This character's a dumbass. I hate when I play a game and the lead character's an idiot, and that happens a lot, doesn't it?
Not everybody's a writer.
Yeah. Healer OP starter kit. Heal the entire party. Tankify the party. Holy powers compel thee. Omnious voice. What incarnation? Who are you guys, and how did you end up here? If you're lost and head back, you'll find a warp to take you outside unless you have business with me. That must be for the ice primal. You now have a choice. Sorry, we will leave, and you are causing the seas to be frozen. You must die. You must die. First choice makes you step back, and second choice triggers the boss fight. After this dialogue, the ice primal. Okay, you guys aren't the first ones after all. Let's get this over with. That kind of I like that, Ahmed. It feels like this deity isn't an evil creature. It is just another creature, and it sees you as a trespasser in its territory. And what happens in the world around it is like a byproduct of what the sea creature wants, or not the sea creature, the ice primal. Like, I kind of like that. It puts the evil, it kind of changes the alignment of the ice primal, doesn't it? From, like, from evil to neutral. How do you like the Switch? Do you have the new Switch Lite? You must have someone in the party who sneezes from the cold. It's so cliche and effective. I must? Do I really, though? If you're looking for artists to contract as an RPG dev, what do you look for in their portfolio? I try to ask them something very specific that they would have a hard time Googling, and then I would ask them to change one random thing about it and see if they're actually creating the art. So if I'm looking for an artist to design something for me, let me think of an example. I want a centaur with an ogre top. I would ask them to...
A tiny, minuscule little centaur legs.
I would ask for something very, like a very quick rough draft of a centaur bottom and an ogre top, and I want to have 3 nails coming out of the spiked club of, something specific. Mm-hmm. Because it's harder to find a Google image that they can scam you. It's easier for them to find an image and then edit it a little bit to meet those criteria, which you have to be aware of. But once you know this guy's legit and this person is, like, you kind of verify that, okay, they're actually making this, and you'll ask them to change it on the fly a little bit, just to be like, I just want to make sure that everything's on the up and up, and you're serious about putting in some time, because this might take you a while to do, yada yada. And if they want the job, then they'll do a few rough drafts. They'll spend 15, 20, 30 minutes to show you that they're, like, legit and whatnot. And if not, then you probably don't want to work with them. If that ticks them off, you probably don't want to work with them, actually. Once you can verify that they're a real artist and they're willing to, change up their designs on the fly based on what you ask them to do, so you like to test to see if they can actually do stuff? Yes, I want to see if they can actually listen to what I have to say and make changes based on what I have to say and take their own ego out of it, as well as verify they're not just finding Google images and pasting me Google images and passing it off as their own work, because that's a scummy thing, but some people do that. But once I verified they're legit and they will take their own ideas and change them based on what someone else wants, so it's not what they think looks best, but it's what the person telling them to do looks best, because they're getting paid to do something, by the way, then I will look for their art style. What kind of art style in their portfolio? Does everything look similar? That's not a bad thing, but is that the style you want? I would kind of just look at their art style and see if that's the kind of style that's going to represent the game that I'm working on. So if you notice that there's a lot of chibi aspects, do you want that in your game? Can they do stuff that's not chibi? or if they're not drawn, if it looks too real, if it looks realistic and you kind of want it more chibi, can they chibify their stuff a little bit? You know, and kind of get a feel for what you want for your game, and then stick to a similar art style throughout the entire thing. So having only a few artists or even one artist is a good thing, because then you have this uniform, your game looks like this style, and it's not like all over the place. It says, I am content with the classic Switch, currently playing FE3, Houses of DQ Builders. Houses, and Dragon Quest Builders 2. They have Builders 2 already? I heard Dragon Quest Builders is like a Minecraft within the Dragon Quest world. I didn't know they had a part 2 out on Switch. I'm surprised that game didn't take off as much as you would expect.
I never played Dragon Quest. Wasn't that like a PS1 or like some old, really long RPG that was very grindy?
Well, Dragon Quest started as Dragon Warrior all the way back on Nintendo. I remember having the cartridge. I actually bought one at a swap meet a couple years ago. It's the gray cartridge, but it had a yellow sticker, and it had this realistic-looking warrior with a dragon breathing flames on the back. It looked pretty cool. And it was a classic, very early RPG. It was very, very difficult, and there was a first-person battle system, and it was called Dragon Warrior. And that was the English version of it, but it was Dragon Quest in Japan.
Were they known for making really long games, like 100 hours, 200
Yeah,
hours?
sure.
Okay, that's the one I'm thinking.
Yeah, Dragon
of.
Quest games are pretty long.
I never played one.
And I played a few of them. I bought the Dragon Quest, I don't remember which one, was it 10? I think Dragon Quest 10 on PS2, and that was the last one I ever bought. But Dragon Quest Builders is like a Minecrafty, Zelda-like game.
Huh.
It's like take a Zelda game in the Dragon Quest world and mix it with Minecraft, and it's kind of like that, yeah, or Roblox or something. Ahmed says Dragon Quest is the granddaddy of all RPGs. This was an Enix game, right? And they were, in Japan, Enix was the top dog for RPGs for a long time. But Squaresoft had a large American presence, North American presence. And so they merged a decade ago or so to become Square Enix, and that is what Square Enix is now. Unfortunately, they didn't do very well, in my opinion.
Square
as
Enix
far as
made some of the best RPGs in the world, the Suikoden series.
Square Enix, was that a Square Soft or was it Square?
You know,
Square
I
Enix?
wonder if it was Squaresoft. Square.
It was
may have
probably
been a combination of the two, actually.
Well, that's why I say they merged to become Square Enix.
Yeah.
I don't know which company made Suikoden. I think it was another one, but a lot of my favorite RPGs came from SquareSoft before they merged with Enix. Final Fantasy II, which was Final Fantasy 1 all the way up to I think 6 was even 7, right? Was SquareSoft before they became Square Enix?
Yeah,
Square
what year
Enix.
did SquareSoft become Square Enix?
Well, whenever they merged, so you can look that up. Let's see what year that was. What year
Squeenix.
did SquareSoft merge with Enix? It was 2003, right? 2003. And they made a lot of non-RPG games, which I was not a fan of, really. But, I mean, yeah. They put out a ton of good games. Secret of Mana, Secret of Evermore, the Final Fantasy series, up to maybe 7 or 8 or something. They put out a lot of good ones. Legend of Dragoon, I think they did that one.
I've heard of that one. Never played that either.
Just a ton of great RPGs from SquareSoft. Enix did the Dragon Quest, so they were making RPGs too, but like less popular in my eyes. But because I'm North American audience, if you ask someone in Japan or growing up like our age, someone growing up in Japan, they would probably say that, oh, I've heard of SquareSoft. They've done some RPGs, and I maybe played a few of them, but that person could probably list off all of the Enix RPGs. A lot of them never got translated into English, but now if you go online, you can get English ROMs using emulators for those. Yeah. Okay, where was I in the story? I got lost a little bit. I didn't want to ignore chat. Crumpy as a follow. Thank you so much for the follow. 34 minutes ago. I got to get on the ball here. Bloodberry Pie, I was told this would be a good question to ask on stream. Do you consider using paid assets to be a bad thing? Okay, so you ask in the YouTube one because I didn't see that. Akuma S. Why do they use this blue font? Not you, Akuma. I'm talking about Twitch. Hello, Drift and chat. How are you doing? Twitch uses this dark blue chat, and I guess they don't consider people use dark themes. You can't see it. Crumpy. It looks like me doing the same thing most of the time, doing double work when you find something better and different. It was Squaresoft up until Final Fantasy X. And X2 was likely produced while it was still Squaresoft, but released under Square Enix. And then a video wizard says, wait, actually Final Fantasy XI was Squaresoft too. It released in 2002.
Huh.
So 11 mainline games from Squaresoft and only 4 from Square Enix.
Nice.
Well, Video Wizard, I mean, that's what it looks like, considering we have Final Fantasy 15, but there's like 5 spin-offs, right? You have Final Fantasy Tactics, which was a Squaresoft game, which was fantastic, and it was a whole different type of thing. You got this whole introduction of a tactic-based thing. Then you have all of your Game Boy Advance versions, your Game Boy Color games. There was like Crystal Chronicles on GameCube. There were a lot of spin-off Final Fantasies. There was Dirge of Cerberus, the Vincent story. There was a lot of different ones that Squaresoft put out too. They really milked the series, but I mean, people couldn't get enough of it, really. Alright, so where are we at in this cutscene? We've got the players moving, and we need to have some show text. So let's do some show text, and we'll do a name of, let's say Arturus, and he'll say, it would behoove us. How do you spell behoove? Behoove.
I don't know.
Is that how you spell it?
I don't know if I've ever tried to spell
us
behoove. Hold on.
To
I think you're right.
Look for some help in getting back to... I forgot the color I used for... I can just say getting back home. And they're going to be kind of walking ahead, so the text could be on the bottom. I'll change it if needed. This would be Arturus.
Do you have some kind of plugin that makes it so you can type like that and it just like wraps the text for you?
What do you mean? In the engine?
Yeah. See, you went past the...
Oh.
Is it going to show up right?
Yeah, it's going to show up right.
Wow,
I'm
cool.
using well, because I changed the resolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the box is bigger than what the engine thinks it should. It doesn't update based on your resolution because you can't edit the engine,
Right.
unfortunately. Fix it! Jeez, gosh, let us put in some kind of
It could
things.
be made so cool if people could mod the engine.
That's
would
what
be
I'm
insane.
saying. Let us mod the RPG Maker engine.
Let's start a petition. No.
People have been saying this for years.
I know, I'm joking.
Anyway, yeah, plus I'm using Amfly's message core, which does word wrap.
Ah, okay, that's neat.
Yeah, and you can turn that off or turn it on. But I don't, I never write to the end of the line using this. I know that it won't be that long. On top of that, you see we have some text here that is not going to actually show.
Right.
This is going to be above it in a little popped out menu because of the message core.
Right.
So it's really only this much text, which is, because we have a larger resolution, it will fit, and then some. I'll have still have some space. So yeah, I know that'll fit.
Awesome.
Do another show text. And then we can have Driftwood. Say something simple. Sounds like a great idea. Let's ask around. And then, I guess so that we don't neglect old Gwyn, we'll just say something like in his character. What would he say? He'd probably want to like stop to get a drink anyway. So let's say, let's do it. I could use a drink. I could use a drink anyway. Let's ask around. Let's do it. No, that sounds stupid. How about, we can say, how about the end? This will give the player a direction. How about the end? My feet are killing me and I could use a drink. And that's basically it. And then they can just do the whole move thing again. So let's just paste the entire movement. Let's change this. And so it'll start with a turn down. And then wait like 5 frames. And then turn right. And then move right, move right, move right for Drifty. And then for Artyrus, he will turn right. Wait 10 frames. Move right, move right, move right. And then with Olgwyn, he'll just wait 15 frames and move right, move right, move right. I also need to do a wait at the top here. He's going to move first, he's in front, and then we'll have Artyrus wait just like an arbitrary number of frames so that they're not walking perfectly in tandem, because it's a parallel here going on, so, or auto run, which will act as a parallel. We're going to move these events in parallel is what I mean, so we can have them kind of like interact with one another in that they kind of seem to wait for the person in front of them to move a little bit before they actually move. And we can fine-tune this move event. At this point, as they're moving, we will fade out the screen, turn on transparency, fade out the screen, wait 30 frames, turn on transparency, or turn off transparency, and turn off the switch that toggles this entire event. So we'll control the switch, not a self switch, but control the switch for the Winter Hall cutscene, and we turn that off. And we need to look and see how this runs before we do like our full playthrough, just because I think it'll make more sense. So even though we've already been in town, in our like save game, because this is a new thing, it should trigger. Video Wizard says the new line is BR. Don't use enter. Assuming Driftwood is the first character, /N1 is the shortcut to show his name. True. That's good to use /N when you're letting the player name the characters, because you can't put in the name because you don't know what the player will name it, so you have to reference it as /N. So here we're looking at it, they're not like perfectly lined up, they're looking up. It would behoove us to look for some help in getting back home. That sounds like a great idea. Let's ask around. How about the end? My feet are killing me and I could use a drink. And it just keeps looping. Okay, what did I do wrong? Oh, I didn't turn on the self switch. Like turn self switch A on after that, and then self switch A on. Wait, what? Winter Hall cutscene on. Oh, this is supposed to be Winter Hall cutscene off and the self switch A on. I've accidentally changed the wrong thing. Okay. So this turns the cutscene off and switches the page. Let's try that again. But I mean that looked great. One other thing I would like to change though is have the fade out happen before they stop moving. So fade out as they're moving. I want them to fade out while they're still walking. So let's go ahead and do a move right, do 2 more of those for all of them. Move right, and also move right, and turn off wait for completion here, but then manually try to figure out how long that's going to take. This will take a little while. So how long will it take for them to... So it'll do this, and then after Olgun's like, hey, how about the end? I need a drink. They'll start moving. From that point to the screen fade out, how many seconds would that be? 1, 2, probably like 2 or 3 seconds. Let's start with 3 seconds. And just in case, I'm going to do a couple more move rights. Move right. Move right. Okay, and we'll hit apply, we'll hit OK, and take a look at that cutscene again. And I want it to fade out while they're still walking. So I manually, I don't have it wait for completion, but I manually tell it to wait. Okay, look for help. Sounds like a great idea. Let's try the end. I could use a drink. Oh wait, that's not quite right. The wait is in the wrong spot. The wait has to be before the fade out. I'm stupid. Gosh. Let me get this up. Driftwood, did you play Dragon Quest V? Have T play it. The story is beautiful and emotional. I did not play 5. I would like to know what you think are the best ones, and should I play? Which one should I play? You can see T right here. Like you can. This is how much space I used.
Oh wow!
But it looks like it only has this much space. Yeah. You know, it says it like cuts off right here, but you can see I have like more than double that.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Perfect. They walk for 3 seconds, it fades out. But did I do the fade in? I didn't do the fade in. Okay. It fades out there. Transparency. So we need another wait after the fade out. So we do a quick wait. We'll do half a second wait after the fade out. Transparency off. Winter Hall cutscene off, self switch A on. But before we switch page, we need to turn the fade in. Actually, we need to transfer the player. Fade in. Where did I do this? Fade in screen. Okay, and then we need to do a transfer real quick. Transfer the player. Let's put him in the end. Let's just go straight to the end, because this is going to speed up the process. Like, this is telling the player, get some help, there, figure out what's going on here, so the player knows what to do. And then we're going to fade to black, and then face up. I have to go to the bathroom. Can you playtest the scene for me? Basically,
Sure.
you're going to walk across the map
Uh-huh.
and load this and enter the town and just read it or watch it. I'm gonna pee and be right back.
Okay. Go in the town. I'm going in the town. Wait. This doesn't look like a town. Wait a minute. Pretend I didn't do that. Is there a town around here somewhere? Where's the town? There's a snow forest. Is that the gate to the town? Oh, I gotta go back. I can do it. I believe in myself. Okay, this must be the town. It doesn't look very towny to me. Alright. It's definitely not the town. Well, you made it sound easy. There's the town, I found it. I totally didn't know where your town was.
But you found it.
Eventually.
Go ahead.
It would behoove us to look for some help in getting back home. That sounds like a great idea. Let's ask around.
I don't sound like it.
How about the inn? My feet are killing me and I could use a drink. Is that the scene?
That's the scene, but I need to change the ending. You see how it
Yeah,
teleports the
it did a
player
blinky
there?
thing.
It did a little bloopy doopy,
It
which
did.
shouldn't have happened. Also, I need to put a little light inside. Well, it could be a shadowy corner of the end. Yeah, that's fine. So let's take a look at that event. Thank you
You're welcome.
for the backup. Alright, so we have a fade out, wait, blah 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 blah. It fades in and transfers. What we should do is maybe transfer the player first and then fade in the screen.
I didn't do that.
You could just throw them on the floor, don't worry about that. Transfer the player, wait another half a second, then fade the screen in, and we'll test it one last time. YT sounds like teal.
Conspiracy.
T is actually teal.
I'm missing an L.
And I'm actually steel. Alright, let's test the cutscene one more time. The Dragoon was Sony. Okay. Star Ocean is Enix. Phantasy Star. I don't know who did Phantasy Star. I kind of feel like it wasn't Sega. Zelda and Mana are my favorite types of RPG. I liked Secret of Mana too. I played Link to the Past so many times as a kid. Can you use UM7 without a pitch and adjust the resolution to 1920 by 1080? It looks really clean. You can use UM7. I don't know what that is. I probably do. I just don't remember what the reference is to. I don't recommend putting your RPG Maker games in 1080p. Ahmed says, now we know how movie directors feel like. They gotta plan every moment of the actors in the play. Dynamic Dudes, don't worry. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. He says, Dynamic Dude says, hey, I want to turn a switch on when a player gets a certain distance from an event. Is this even possible? Yes, Yanfly put out a plugin not too long ago that lets you have a radius around an event that you can have something play if it comes within a radius. Do you remember the name of that plugin? It came out not too long ago.
Clickable events or something?
Maybe clickable events before that one or around that one, where they have a radius.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't entirely listening.
Okay, the question is, he says, I want to turn a switch on when a player gets within a certain distance from an event. Is this even possible? There's two ways to do it. You don't need a plugin.
I do it with regions.
Yeah, you don't need a plugin. You can do. There's three ways then. I don't think. Regions is another one that I did.
Regions and player location event.
Yeah, you can have a region circle around it that plays a common event when you walk on that region. So region common events. There's also doing that with just events with player touch and below character, but there's a plugin that Yanfly put out not too long ago that would probably make that really easy. You just make the center of the event, and then you make a plugin command for when it activates. Event proximity activate. Ultra mode 7. Oh, mode 7. Yeah. Is there currently a working Mode 7 plugin? I saw one a couple years ago where you're flying around in an airship, and I forgot who made it, but it didn't get updated very well, and there was a lot of bugs. Is there a good Mode 7 plugin now? I know there's people working on it, because Mode 7 is baller. It was one of my favorite aspects to like SNES games. It's like not really 3D, but it has like this bendable sprite thing. And like flying around in the airship in Final Fantasy 6 or 3.
Yeah, I saw somebody's title screen using Mode 7 recently, and it looked really nice.
Recently?
Yeah.
Let's see how this transfer looks now. Perfect. Hey, I love it. So normally Bard would be here. Not Bard. The Bard would be here. Dark Hero would be here. And then you would talk to him. He would have an emo fit. And then nobody likes my music, and then you talk to this guy, and he tells you to deliver something, or he asks you if you'll deliver a composition, and you say yes. And then you go back to whoa, I see a little bug there. You can go like this. Hey, what about on this one? Yep, this one too. Okay, what about on this one? Not on this one. Oh, yep, this one too. What about over here? Never noticed this before. Okay.
You know, I have found that
really
the stock roof tiles in the editor are wonky. Like half the time my chimneys disappear and that'll happen, or the tile will just completely disappear.
There's also a collision here?
Okay. Has anybody else ever had that problem where your roof tiles in the engine are just not right?
Let me,
I thought it was just me.
No, I have. I've had that issue.
Yeah.
Like, case in point right here. Let me look at my region restriction and figure out what I'm using for green. I think 125. Infly region restricts. Nope, not restrict events. Region restricts. 125. Okay, so what I'm going to do is paint this 125 like this. And then I'm going to paint this one cannot enter like that. But this one you can. And I guess we'll test it again to see if we can... Where else do we have this issue? I suppose I should go like this and say that you can walk right there. Can't get behind that one, but I want to make sure that you can get behind this one and this one. And this one, but not here, or here, like so. There's going to be a lot of these collision things that I have to adjust, for sure. Aaron Galen Camp says you can dynamic dudes by using Mog's event sensor. Okay. So Aaron is saying, yeah, there's a Mode 7, a good one right now by B Blizzard, and apparently Aaron has already made a working Wolfenstein, F-Zero, and Fez type game. That's cool. B Blizzard. Let me look that up real quick. B Blizzard Mode 7 RPG Maker MV plugin. Showing result. Ultra Mode 7 RPG Maker forums link. Yo, that's sick. Okay, let me copy this and put this in Discord for right now. I want to reference it and look at it later. So I'm just going to put this in promo. Just to put this in promo. This isn't new, but I'm hearing it works well. I've seen in renditions and iterations of Mode 7 that haven't worked that great. That like very, very niche scenes can work. I guess I'll read what the people are saying real quick, but off camera. Will there ever be a new game jam? Like, do you have some influence? And you have some influence, and it does motivate people to make games again. Yes, and I plan to talk about it later on.
We were just talking about it the other day.
Yeah,
actually.
I mentioned it on the stream actually. Jack, I can't look at all your code right now. That's a page of code, but I'll look at it after the stream or so. Okay. All right, back to testing of this scene real quick. Bring this up. Bring this up. Go here. Save our changes. All right, let's look at the scene one last time, and then move on to the next cutscene that needs to happen. If everything is on the up and up, make sure I could walk through the map without walking on roofs. Oh, wait, hold on, I see another bug. That shouldn't say Phelan, that's the name of the world. That should say, because I copy pasted it, that should actually say Arena. So let me go to this event real quick and change this. This is going to say Private Arena. You could just say Arena, huh? Monster Arena sounds cool. Monster Arena. I'll be like, what? A monster arena? Get out. Okay, so we fix that. Oh, I should probably test. Okay, I'm gonna do Flame Shot 2. Boom. 2000. Oh, it did a state of, okay, hold on. That state increases the fire damage, I think, which will change the number that I'm looking at. Let's do this Tachi Kasai. Okay, so that's 2752. Yep, my guys are strong enough. What I was going to do is test the changes we made to the states for the Threnities. We can do that later. And you can see the N at the edge of the screen over here. So, I mean, it's kind of cool. Like, I didn't plan that, but... Great, great. And then we come out, and can we walk through this thing? Nope, nope. We can go down here. And now this is legit how it's supposed to be. Okay, what about over here? Can I walk up on these things? Where is it bugged out? Any bugs? There we go. Found another one. Another one. Let's fix that. Okay, that should do. Probably over here. I should should just paint them. Just paint them. Oh wait, we don't want that to be walked on either. Actually. Okay. I think that's good. That's probably good for that. So you get him, you go there, there's other stuff in town that you can visit. The church is empty with no NPCs right now, but all of the shops have a vendor that you can use. This guy can sell you seeds for when you go back to the farmland. These houses are nothing. You have a fisherman dude. Maybe we make a map for the well, for the frosty well. There could be a treasure chest down the well. Inside the castle, we can make... There's nothing going on in the castle yet, so that's a point. Like, you obviously can't release the game, this version yet, because there's nothing happening in this castle. There's just an empty map with no events. The maps are done, but the events are not on the map. So I have to think of what's going on here. Probably have to interact with something here to get a ship, right? So maybe at the end we make an NPC that mentions something about a ship. I'm trying to figure it out. And then inside here, or we ask the king for a ship. It's not really the king. Ask the baron. What should we do? This guy, is he a duke? Is he a baron? He's not a king. This isn't like a castle. This is just like the mayor, I suppose. But he does have like a monarch type of thing going on. Still trying to figure it out. And I guess what we can do is have the leader, the king type of character, request that the party get rid of figure out why the surrounding oceans are so frozen that it's stopping the ships from sailing. And once we get that, we promise the king that we will figure out, we'll investigate or whatnot. Then we fight the ice primal. We do that little dungeon. That releases the enchantment that's freezing the land. We go back to the king dude, and he grants us a ship as a reward for freeing up the trade routes or whatnot. And then the player has a ship. Okay, so that's the basic rough draft premise of what we're going to do there. Where should I start this? Because we've already got a part of the story telling us to go to the ice temple. So let me go back to this area. Gosh, where's it at? Here it is. And look at the storyline. What do I have written here? Our friends were last seen around the frozen temple on the west side of the continent. Okay, so we go to the temple in the forest because we're looking for our friends. If we're not going to find them there, but like, how do we integrate we need a ship to get back home into the story? Olgwin would be the one to suggest a ship. Plus, he's playing a smaller role in all the say-saying going on here. So he should probably say something different here, so that we're not directly telling the players to go here. Instead, we're saying we need to rent or buy a passage off of this continent to get back to our home. but they wouldn't want to go back without finding the friends. So this kind of works to go to the Ice Temple. Okay, I got an idea. We'll make it a passive story in the town to where if you talk to the members in the town and look for the storyline, it's not going to be where you have to talk to this person to cue it. You just have to end up beating the Ice Primal and then go talk to the king for your reward. Story writing. I'm trying to do story writing and then like sequencing the order of events. I know what's supposed to happen sequentially. Alright, so let's make NPCs for the town then. I suppose that's a good approach. Let's make a noble type character. Okay, what if we seal off the snow cave? What if there's a... What if we seal off the... No, because it was like, well, we could barricade it, or we can put one of the king's... But why would the king be protecting the ice palace if he's trying to figure out why the... I think the noble guy should have the ignorance play. Like, he should be like, I don't know why our trade routes. He should be the incompetent, more incompetent character, not like... That's why he's hiring people to investigate for him, because he doesn't understand. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. But how do I tie it together? If it's a larger ship, it's much more likely to be a duke. Just when you think about it, yeah. Hey Charzanico, he says, how would two NPCs collide with each other as if they were fighting? Charzanico, like in a cutscene, you would just put one sets to through inside a movement. So like you go movement route, right? You set a movement route, and you do this. Whatever event it is, say it was the snow fisherman colliding with something else. Then you would set one of them to through on, and then you would also set the direction fix on, and then one other character would move into this character's space, and then this character would move right. So say you had, it would take two movement routes. You would have, let's say that event 28 is a fighter. The fighter would move to the right, and you would have the fighter event on the left side of the snow fisherman. And so the fighter would move to the right, but you wouldn't do wait, because actually you have to do through first. So let's go like this. You would turn through on the fisherman first, and then you would make the fighter move right into the fisherman's space, and then you would have the fisherman do another movement event, where the direction fix gets turned on, and then you would have this, you would play an animation too. You would show an animation on either one of those two, we'll say the fisherman, hit physical, whatever. You don't have to wait for completion, in fact you shouldn't. And then you wait for this one though. And then after he goes to the right, say he hits a wall, you would do something like a sound effect, like a padoom or whatever. I'm not going to find the right one, but you get the point. So you would have two events, one on the left side, one on the right side. The snow fisherman starts with turning his through on, so that two events can be on the same spot, and it doesn't like freeze the game. That doesn't need to be wait, it's instant, so it doesn't matter if it's wait or not. Then you do a movement right with the second event that collides into the other one, so they're both occupying the same space. At the same time, you're not waiting for that to finish. You're doing an animation on the snow fisherman. So as they enter the same space, you have an animation to show like there was an action happening. And then you turn on direction fix. That way when you tell the character to move right, or actually you would do a jump. You could do it like this, or a jump. You can go direction fix, and then you would say jump, and you would offset by adding to the X2. That would move them right. So this will keep the character facing to the left, but while they're moving to the right. So it looks like they were shoved or attacked or thrown back by some force or explosion or blast or strike. And that's your sequence, right? Direction, you turn through on, you move one character into the other character's location, you do an animation, you turn on direction fix and do a jump or a move with while they're direction fixed, and then you play the sound effect of them like hitting the ground or hitting a wall or something. And you can change this in however you want, but that's a general idea of how you would do it. Don't forget to turn through off later on, and turn off direction fix when you want them to actually like look around and move. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck facing that direction. Pretty simple though, right? I could do a little mini tutorial on how to do a quick scene where two characters are fighting.
Mm-hmm.
That's an idea. Got to remind myself later. Alright, so I'm spitballing ideas. The player's going to be able to come in here. But there should also be another scene somewhere. There should be another like maybe okay, I can expand upon that first cutscene. It's awfully small. Let's do that. Go back to the Winter Hall cutscene. Expand upon this to give the player some direction. So, sounds like a great idea. Let's ask around. Olgun will say, how about the end? My feet are killing me and I could use a drink. That will be the closing. But he's also going to suggest something. What we really need is a ship. Because he's a pilot. What we really need is a ship. That way we can get back. That way we can what we really need is a ship. Perhaps the Duke here. He would be a Duke. Perhaps the Duke of these lands would lend us one. And then Arturus could say something about it. I mean, he is like a as captain of the guard in Coral Kingdom, he would be the one to do. I can say that as captain of the guard of the Coral Kingdom. It would. It might be best. Yeah, it might be best if I ask. If I do the talking. Let's ask around. This seems like it should go here instead of there, because it still works. It's a very like generic response. So we start the cutscene. It would behoove us to look for some help in getting back home. What we really need is a ship, says Olgwin. Perhaps the Duke of these lands would lend us one. And then Arturus would say, as captain of the guard of the Coral Kingdom, it might be best if I do the talking. In fact, I need to color code Coral Kingdom. I don't remember what color I used for the locations. I don't think it was green. I think it was blue. So let's try that one for now. Sounds like a great idea. Let's ask around. And then we can say, how about we start with the inn? My feet are killing me and I could use a drink. And then I think everyone's like, all right, yeah, let's go ask around. But then what we need to do is not completely unlock the temple and tell the players do I want to make it like super linear like that? I mean, so we would go in here and have to make a cutscene and a bunch of NPCs. Oh, it's so much work. Okay. Alright, let me find a guard. Let's make a generic guard. Guard in armor. Maybe like, I mean, it would be better if I customized them. I would want a helmet on them, actually. Like, shorter hair with a helmet. That's what we need in the character generator. Better, like, helmets, you know? Like... And then what's the most heavily armored? Probably that. I don't think they want to be wearing... I don't think I want them to be with a pink cape. I don't think they need a cape. Or do they? They don't need a cape. Let's go like this. This will make them less humanized. They're just guards. Okay. And then for clothing, let's change the colors to be more white colored. No cloak, that accessory, no glasses. Yellow eyes makes sense. Let's go with the plate mill. There we go. Oh, kind of like sand color and gray and maybe like a blue, slight blue flare. There we go. Oh wait, I'm going with a yellow for all of them, ain't I? Let's do the yellow. This is going to be the Winter Hall Guard. Let's change maybe their hair color to that. Black hair looks okay. White hair. Let's do that. Okay. Face image, export. Winter Hall Guard. I guess I'll do 01, but we'll use this one multiple times for placeholder. Winter Hall Guard 01. Imports. Export, overwrite. Battler, export, never know. And save the settings. Okay. That's our guard that I'll spam around. Hey Bound Drizzy, how are you doing? Retro Thunder, this is RPG Maker MV. You what? Oh. Let's stretch it out. We need to stretch an NPC. There we go. There we go. That'll work just fine. Got like plate mail, a mask, a headpiece. He feels very copy pastable. Okay. So let's. They're not going to be standing outside in the cold. I mean, they could, but it doesn't make much sense. Especially when there's like this cold snap going on. So we'll go into Winter Hall. The meeting hall? No. What we can do is, I don't know, block it off or something for now. The big building. Okay, so we'll have a guard placed here. Winter Hall, guard, 01. They'll be standing around. Winter Hall guard will say, you walk in here, what would he say even? Maybe he would just remain silent for now. Now he's copy pastable and I can make them say different things when I need them to. Two of them are there. And then the second level doesn't need to be a guard here, doesn't need to be a guard in the room. There would be a couple of guards here. Actually, like that. You know, we can just drop everything today, it's fine.
I'm determined to break my controller.
Or your headset, or both. let's put a couple more guards in, except these will be facing to the left and to the right. Okay, and then we would have other NPCs in here. Am I even using my instance actors for anything? Nope, I'm not. So, I did make Winter Hall NPCs. Did I use them all? I don't remember if I've put them all around yet. Okay, hold on. Let me look around my Winter Hall maps and see which ones I've actually used. Winter Hall. There's the Fisherman. He's the only NPC walking outside, crazy enough to be outside. Which one is this guy using? He's the Winter Hall weapons guy. Okay. This is the items. So I'm assuming this is an armor's guy. Like I made one for each yeah. Perfect. Same thing here. Ingots. I did all those for their own reasons. Yep. But then I created actors that I can just put down. So let's make those events and put some actors down. Winter Hall NPC 1. Wait, one of these I did do. Hold up. Inside of the N, because that was the first one I started doing. Yep. So here's the one. Here is, he's a seed salesman. But the seed salesman is already used in another store, so I'm going to make this be this guy instead. Actually, use 1, I used 2, I used 3, I'm going to turn it to this guy. Actually, I want to turn it to this guy. So that's the problem. I just pick the ones that I think look the best for the situation, but then I don't pay attention to what numbers I use. So 1, 2, 3, 7. Now I'll go back to the meeting hall and the church and whatnot. So this one is 12. I'll just go like this. 12. I didn't use 4. Here's 5. This will be 6. I use 7, so let's go to 8. 9. Let's do 11 here. I'm gonna make the 10 number 10 on the other, on the church. Same thing. So 10 and 12 will go in church. This is 13. That's fine. 10, and that's enough people. That's good enough for now. These are the king's guests. we'll need the king. I'll have to make or not the king, but the duke. The duke. Let's add a couple of things to the church. Well, we are using this one already. So let's make this 10. It would be facing forward. They don't do anything yet. They're just placeholders for events, characters, one step at a time, and then 12. So I've used the actors that I've created. So I'm allotting the resources that I've made, and I would need to make like a special one for, I guess, the minister, or whatever this is, the bishop or something, and then one for the duke. So I'll make 2 more of them. A guard blocked the door, at least a couple of nobles in the castle. Yeah, maybe he's new, Charazanika. Or Epic, maybe. Thank you for the tutorials on RPG Maker and V. I managed to gain enough confidence through your tutorials to make my very own first game. Awesome, Bound Drizzy, that's cool. My storyline so far is that you are an archaeologist trapped on an island. You have been sent to uncover an old relic with a huge plot twist, lots of fun. Thanks again. No problem. Thanks for watching. Video Wizard says it seems MV changed things to display party members' names in a message box. Use P through player 4 instead. /N still works to show the leaders' names. I prefer the /P system because it wasn't that intuitive in VX Ace to remember that number -1/N was referring to the second active party member. What about sprites that don't seem to be sitting on chairs? I'm just going to have to suspend my disbelief and go with it for now. So I'll add a couple more NPCs for the church, and maybe make this an interactive thing that you can make noise on the piano here, the organ. And give some purpose to this church, maybe. As well as let's make the Duke. Okay. So what is the Duke gonna look like? Let's start with the face and customize it from the beginning. So the Duke's gonna be slightly older, so we'll have like some stretch marks and marks. Maybe a lighter color hair or something. Gray, white looking hair. Probably longer. A beard, yep. Bushy eyes, eyebrows, big proboscis nose, a firm mouth, I guess, some sunken eyes. Do we want the Duke to be is he like is he possessed? Is the Duke possessed? Is he under the influence of somebody evil? Or is he just unable to deal with the ice primal freezing the trade routes? Let's just give him some bags under his eyes, because he's stressed out. He's got a position of office, and he's not sure what he's going to do about the situation. So he's kind of like, what's the most noble is? He's not going to wear one of these scarves. He's gonna have some kind of not a suit. I guess very, very fine looking clothing. So let's go with this, and then this, and then like this, and then maybe like purples and stuff, right? We're gonna have like purples. Yeah, purple with like blue and red, stuff that sticks out a lot, like very vibrant colors. Maybe some kind of like, yeah. It's kind of like wearing like comfortable robes and stuff with like vibrant colors, because, you know, he's a duke, guy's ballin'. So this is he should have a crown. Why is there no crown in the accessories? You know, that seems like you would want that. You'd want like a helmet for a soldier, multiple types probably, and you'd want like a crown. That's what he would be wearing. We'll give him some earrings that you can't see. I almost hit randomized. Okay, so export. This is going to be the Duke of Winterhall. Copy this, save this. Export the Duke of Winterhall. Import the Duke of Winterhall. Okay. Put this down there. Export this over it. Overwrite. Yeah. Okay. Battler. Export Duke of Winterhall. Okay. Yep. Save settings for the Duke of Winterhall. Got him. Okay, let's save that. Let's go to the Photoshop. We can close this. We can close this. Let's open up the Duke of Winterhall and stretch him. Get stretchified. Perfect. Okay, let's open up his battler in case we ever need to do something like let the player kill all the NPCs in town, so they all have a battle sprite. SV actors. And we do the stretchify. Got him. Okay. Now we go here. Let's go to the meeting room, meeting hall, and put the Duke of Winterhall right here. Actually, wait, what is this? This is an empty event. Completely empty, nothing there. Let's delete it. Put this right there. So he's just kind of standing there, or like representing that he's sitting. And Rodrigo DS16, thank you so much for the follow 3 minutes ago. I've seen crowns and helmets. I think Avery or Hidden One has them. Nice. The Jarl Duke of Winterhall. Event sprite offset? Yeah, that's a plugin. That is a thing. I use that in Natural Explorers to make one of the item enchantment system custom A sprites that I made to look correct. Okay, so we got some NPCs in town. The transfer events are there, so now it's not completely empty. This will be an empty room that will be locked up to the player for a cutscene. We'll also have a cutscene here at some point. And it's coming together. We've got more events happening on the map. We need to do a full playthrough, but I also want to tie up the storyline and end with the player getting the airship, or the ship. So I want to do all of the eventing and all the story before I do the long playthrough where I do extensive testing before release. So there's still a lot that I have to do. The more I start doing, the more I'm like, okay, so I need to come up with some dialogue for these NPCs, and I need to kind of write the storyline so that the player knows that there's something going on with the cold snap in the area, and to address that problem. But right now, they're already being sent to the Ice Temple, where they will encounter the Ice Primal. So more got done. I'm going to end the live stream right here. Thank you guys so much for coming to the live stream. If you like what I do, please consider supporting me on Patreon. If you want to see more tutorials like this, you could subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Live stream thumbs up if you like this sort of content. Hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you're getting progress done on your projects. If you have any questions while I'm not live streaming, throw them in the Discord or make a comment on my videos. And yeah, I've got a bunch of tutorials up already and more to come. If you have any special suggestions, you could message me them on Discord or put them in the Discord or message YouTube. There's plenty of ways to get a hold of me and let me know what you want to see. Thank you guys so much for coming to the live stream. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Today is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday the 9th. So yeah. Love you guys very much. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, you're awake. I saw you fell asleep a minute ago. Power napping.
No, I never fall asleep.
I must be very boring, guys. Bye, guys. See ya.